Welcome. Nice to see you here. Another sunny but chilly morning here in Alberta. Hope you're having some lovely weather where you are. Well, hi, Sunita. I am good. I'm good. Thank you. How are you? Nice to see familiar faces here. Okay. Thanks. All right. In talking about the weather, it's funny, we talk about the weather a lot, right? It's one of those easy subjects that we can kind of talk about in any situation with anyone. And when we really look at the weather and we have all this thinking about it, right? That, if it's a hi, Lori. Oh, well, thank you. Thank you. Hi, Christine. Lori says, I like your hair. I have a story about hair that it probably won't come up today, but lots of stories around hair. Lots of story around weather. What's good, if it's sunny, it's good. If it's cloudy, it's not. We're getting into this season here where it's getting dark, right? It's getting darker in the morning, and I kind of like that. I like getting out earlier in the morning for a walk or something when it's still a little dark. And I feel cocooned. I feel, I don't know, unseen, maybe. And there's something there. Our everyday life experiences can share or can inform us of things that are going on in our mind. I'm glad that resonated. That it can point us to things that are maybe limiting us. So my husband, I drove him to, we're having one vehicle these days, and it's just like, let's see how long we can go with just one, because I'm home a lot because I work from home. So, we've been managing, but, we're feeling a little bit of a pinch, so we're going to start looking. But I drove him to the train station yesterday morning, early, 6:40 or something like that. And it was a little dim, and he was saying how, I don't like this dark, this dark. And I said, I like it. And I realized that I knew this before, but it highlighted it for me when we had a little discussion about it, that there's a part of me that hides. For all kinds of reasons, I think. And it's helpful to take stock and just see, not dig into the past. This will come up today, actually, in this talk. Taking stock of where we are in our life, of what's going on. Starting to notice these little things that it's like, I love the dark. And as the summer comes and it's getting brighter and brighter, and it's like, I just can't get up early enough to get for a walk in the dark. So I'm like, Sean on. It's like, it's all in my mind. It's all the same, whether there's dark or there's light. The only shining, the only focus, the only spotlight that really happens, where that comes from, is the spotlight we put on ourselves or on things. Our attention is basically a spotlight or a flashlight. I will share one little story before we kind of get into a little bit of breathing and then moving on into our subject. So I did go for a walk yesterday morning. Lori, okay, I and can identify, I prefer being out in the dark. I have this idea that people are looking at me, which I'm sure they're not, but I've been like this for a long time. Yeah, yeah, Lori, I so get it. And what are we really hiding from? So what? So what if someone's looking at us, watching us? People are probably watching us a lot of the time, and we have no idea. And we're fine, just caring about our day. And then we have a thought, what if someone's watching me? So it's not the watching, someone watching us, that has us feeling anything. It's the thought, when we have the thought that someone might be watching us, and we make that mean something. By the way, Lori, I saw a message that you had sent. I responded to. I just saw it yesterday. Happened a week ago. I responded to it, and doesn't look like my reply showed up. So I sent a note, and they said it can take 24 hours for messages to show up in the system, but it's still not there today. So I'll get a response to that. So yesterday morning, I'm walking in the dark, and I'm on a pathway, and there's a little, not super bright, but there's a light in someone's backyard that backs onto the pathway. And I had earbuds in. I was listening to something that I enjoy, and softly, because I do like to hear what's happening around me. And I'm walking by this place, and all of a sudden I catch in the corner of my eye, my periphery, and I jumped. I thought someone came up beside me. I look, and it was my shadow. I actually had two shadows. I had the shadow that, well, there was two. There was one softer one, then there was one behind. I don't even know which one got me, but it's like, and then I thought, I'm going to take a picture of it and do a post on it somewhere or something, and talk about, like, this is what happens. We have the shadow of our thinking always sneaking up on us and shocking us, surprising us, making us feel things. So anyway, that was cool. And then when I'm trying to get a picture, of course, it's dark out, and there's this little bit of light, and my flash came on, and it flashed, and of course, when the picture was taken, there's no shadow there. There's nothing there. Nothing to be afraid of. It was just, as soon as we put our attention on something, and the attention in that case, it was the light of my thing, and it's like, oh, there's nothing there. And that's what we're gonna do today. That's what we're gonna look at. And just explore a little bit. So welcome. And let's see what happens. Let's see where it goes. Yeah. So let's start by just really kind of arriving in this moment. If you were here yesterday, I was talking about, this sense of connection that we always have to the peaceful, free, and benign, creative, and infinitely smart intelligence that lives us, breathes us, without us having to do anything. It's always there. We're always connected. Just sometimes we're unaware, because we're sort of leaning forward in life with our personal intellect, which only holds past. That's it. Anything that it has in there that it's giving to you in the moment is all based on past stuff. It's like a computer. Yet, it can be really helpful in informing or, guiding at times. Not guiding. It's like the support when when there's a story about someone who she's a doctor. She was a neuroscientist or something like that, some kind of neuro person, and she had a stroke, and it was the left side, the right side, the creative. Wait, just a minute. Right-brained, creative, left, logical. Is that right? Did I get that? And it was the sort of the creative, the logical side that the stroke happened in. And she was aware, but just it took 45 minutes to try. She was trying to punch out a number in on the phone from something. And anyway, it was just, all messed up. So it's like you need that logical side of your brain to give the creative like a brush. So there's all this creativity, and the left side can give you like, here's a brush and a canvas, and now you can, and this is how you can move. It just gives us something to hold on to, something to orient the creative nature. That's what our body does. Because when the body goes, when it's done, the creative energy that we are, it lives on. Energy doesn't die. And even the energy of the body will break down and become something else, will become a part of something else if we let it all happen naturally, right? So I kind of lost my train of thought. Right. The whole idea of settling in, sort of back into that space within. Because even though we talk about this creative energy and stuff, it's like there's never anything there. When we look, it's like there's nothing there. But it's animating us. So coming into the present moment, where it's almost like there's nothing going on. Check this out for yourself. What does it feel like to kind of let go? I just imagine like this big pillow of God behind me, catching me, firm enough that I don't go flipping, and soft enough that I'm feeling held, supported. It's quieter. And we can become aware. We can use the power of consciousness to become aware. That's there all the time. It didn't suddenly appear when we, said, hey, let's go here. Let's settle into that. It didn't just appear. It's always been. It's just now we're a little more aware of it. When our eyes are closed, it's like, where are we? I think about that movie. It's the animated one with the emotions. I can't remember it offhand, but there's anger and fear, and when she sleeps at night, everything gets all discombobulated in her mind. like an abstract. And that's kind of what creative energy is. It's kind of, in our logical mind, we might look at it as like abstract, like, wow, where's this coming from? What is, I don't know, that doesn't, we try to put the pieces into something that makes sense. And sometimes what makes sense to us is something that's always coming from the past. I'm still having my eyes closed here and just, noticing how when your eyes are closed and I'm talking and there might be images coming up, it's like, what is that? Like, just get curious about who is this? What's going on? Where are all these images coming from? And just noticing if it comes up differently when your eyes are closed, when you're closing off to the visual sensations of the room, and you're just looking at what's coming up in your mind. So we have these things coming up. We'll get messages, we'll get guidance, we'll get, nudges. And then let's call it our physical eyes. If our physical eyes are open, but let's keep them closed. If our physical eyes are open, we might like engage things, like grab all those senses and bring it to this and try and figure it out and logic it out. And that can get in the way because the what seems like it might be a little abstract in the moment when it first comes up. Not in the moment it first comes up. When it first comes up, it's going to lift you up. When it's coming from infinite, your inner wisdom, it's going to lift you up. It's going to draw you somewhere. It's going to inspire you. It's going to move you, motivate you, get you in motion. And then when that logic side comes in and it's just like, wait a minute, tries to slow down the process, tries to make sense of it, because it's like, hang on, let me make sure this is safe. This doesn't make sense. I'm running it through my computer and it's coming out illogical. So there's a trust here. It's like, what if we just let this, what if we just allow it to be abstract and allow it to work it out? What if we just allowed ourselves to be guided? So just a couple of deep breaths on your own. Let's do 3. And when you're ready, you can allow your eyes to come open. Hi, Maya. It's like a constant projection of the past. Yeah. Well, let's explore this today. Emotional healing is a myth. You can't heal from what isn't. I know this can, well, let's just dive in. Because what I'd really love for you at the end of this is to have like a new perspective on what you see. Because if we believe that we need to heal emotionally, that means we must believe that we are wounded. And we are emotionally wounded. And therefore there's something to heal. And let's talk about wounds for a moment. So I'm I'm hoping that by the end of this, it's just giving you a different way to look at this. And through that, you will experience a sense of, I'm okay. I am healed. I am in the essence of something that is whole and healed. That there never was really anything to heal or overcome or get to, away from, that there was something to fix. Let's look at what healing is. What is a wound? And this might bring up new things too. It was new to me this morning when I was just jotting down some notes about, what would be helpful here in how to talk about this and how to see something new, how I could spark something within you, your own wisdom, to see it differently. Laura, hi Laura. Coming back to wholeness? Yeah. And here's the thing, let's listen to our language. That this is so common, right? That we talk about, just because truly, I think it was a couple of years ago, where I had this thought that, oh, how come I'm really connected to, my source energy when I'm coaching or when I'm doing an energy healing session for someone? Why is that effortless? Why am I so connected there, and I can sort of step aside and let it speak through me? How come I'm so disconnected? I want to stay connected all the time. So my language indicates that I believe that there's times where I'm connected and there's times where I'm not. When in actual fact, there's never a disconnection. There's just an unawareness. I'm always in connection. You are always in connection. Laura, right? Our words of coming back to, that kind of it's so fun to me. Actually, I hope you get fun from this too. All right, but it feels that way. Yes, but only because that's what we're thinking, right? One of the things I teach in here, you'll hear it over and over and over again. I can never stop, because it's the foundation that we feel our thinking. Whatever we're thinking about something, that is what we feel. If we feel that someone wounded us emotionally, we're going to feel something about them. And we might say, they made us feel like this. And we might feel, let's dive into it, because that's what we're going to be talking about. We might feel resentful or angry or hurt or blaming or criticizing or hiding. We might be so afraid of feeling that again that it's we're shutting it down, locking this baby up. Don't want to be hurt anymore. So I'm just going to walk in the dark so no one can see me. And, I'm going to hide behind my computer. I'm going to keep this screen in between anyone that might, touch my heart more. So once we start to see that, oh, we're already whole. We always are. Even when our physical body has some damage to it, we are still whole, because the body is just a very finite expression of us. So it's fun to me to start to listen to the words that come out of our mouth. How am I thinking that I'm away from being whole? Where was I? How did I get there? So I want to let's explore this. You don't have to share anything, but just think about these things. If you want to share, I love that too. Or if you have any questions, or, well, I don't know, what does it mean here? You're saying this, how does it apply here? What about when? I love that. So what do you feel like you need to heal from? Where do you believe that you are wounded? I'll give an example of a past relationship, and I felt duped. I felt like I was used, and I felt like there was some psychological games, and I felt betrayed. I felt used. I felt manipulated. I felt very vulnerable. And for a long time. And I blamed him. And I looked for things that I could, that I didn't like about him, or that I could complain about. I wanted to attack him. So I was looking for things, for other things unrelated to what happened in the relationship. I was looking for things to hate him for, and to bash him for, and to, I can feel that. Ugh, it's gross energy. It's gross. But we can get into, like I did. I just really felt resentful. I did end up, I actually wrote a note. It took me days to work up to this. I had to do a little bit of reading and a list of all the things I wanted to call him. This was many years ago, 25 years ago. And just the memory is alive. I am feeling the memory right now of that. When I was talking about looking for things that I hated about him. That was just I'm icky now, the feeling that's bringing up in me. I did make a phone call to him and just riffed off all the terrible things that I wanted to say. And he kind of laughed, and I hung up. So if I was looking for emotional healing, I absolutely did not get that. In fact, it made it worse. There might have been a temporary, there, I did it. A temporary there. I said all the terrible things that I think you are, blah, blah, blah. It was very short-lived, because that is not me. That is not who I am. I was lashing out because I felt like I was betrayed, and all of that, all of those things that I thought it was. Okay, now let me bring in the logical mind. I didn't do this right away. This didn't happen overnight. I'm just saying that when I looked at it logically, I looked at the facts. I knew these things about him. He had been in a place where he got a lot of inside information from me because he knew someone, a previous someone who I had a love relationship with prior to him. I knew they knew each other. I just didn't get that he had all this information about me and then used it to manipulate me. So it's just like, oh, I knew that he knew them. Maybe I didn't know the extent, but when I look at it, it's like, oh, logically where they were together in like a program kind of thing. Of course. So it's like, who created all of that? I did. We create our own experience. Now, I maybe didn't say, hey, I just want to extend this invitation out to you to use any information that you know about me that I know I didn't, provide you or whatever. I'm inviting you to use it against me in any way you like. I didn't do that. But I still had feelings. I had an intuition. I had inner wisdom nudging me all the way along in this relationship. It was over a matter of months. I don't know, 7 months, 6 months, something like that. I had internal nudges all along the way that it didn't feel right. Didn't feel right from the very beginning. For whatever reason, it was someone, he was there, he wanted to be with me, and I wanted to be with someone, maybe, I don't know. Just didn't really understand relationships. So, like, what can we, Laura, one of my teachers said, we are distracted out of the present moment, not awake. Yeah, right? Right? And being in this moment, that's all we got. Like when I really oh my gosh, like, oh right, this is so simple. Life is so simple. All we have is this one moment. And in this moment, do we feel good? If we feel good, carry on with that. And if we feel, okay, that's telling me that I am thinking, putting my attention, my spotlight, my focus on something that's, okay. Let's look at this. Let's take that light and shine it. It's like, wow, okay. It was that shadow that snuck up on me. That shadow is a thought. Thoughts will sneak in and have us carrying on, and we'll think it's the right thing to do because that's what all the experts are saying. Oh, well, let me qualify this, because there will be someone, expert or not expert, it could be your dog or your child or your grandchild or someone who says something to you in the grocery line or waiting for the train. They'll say something and it'll be like, boing. Oh my gosh. I needed to hear that. What's happened? There was a feeling of you resonated, and if it feels good, you're resonating with your true nature, with your inner wisdom. So I'm not saying discount all the because I'm putting myself out there as someone who, well, I don't know what I'm an expert at, but I do like to explore, and I do like to bring people along on a journey to self-explore for themselves. to discover the connection that they have, to discover what they are, really, what's available to each and every one of us. Here's the thing. I can't help you do that. No one can. The only thing that someone outside of you can do who is in of service, or someone who's not even of service, they're just saying their truth, saying what made sense to them, and it connected. What's happening here is your inner wisdom is being lit up from within, because that is where your answers are. Because I like to share my stories, and sometimes I'll share other stories that I've witnessed or whatever, only in an effort to sort of offer different ways, different stories that your inner wisdom is going to resonate with, that it'll reach out and grab it. It's like, yeah. And then you are getting your own internal guidance. Does that make sense? So this is experiential. We can listen, I do too. I listen to different people, sometimes I'll stick with one voice, like someone who, I have a few mentors for different things. And so I'll listen to them, and then all of a sudden it's like, okay, I'm not hearing anything new right now. And I go listen to someone else who's talking about the same thing, and they'll use different language. That's what I love about this community, like on Insight Timer, because you have access to different voices. And there might come a time where, okay, I'm not getting anything new from Mick-eye-la anymore. It's just like, yeah. It's starting to become like same old thing. And then you start to not hear it. That's also why I like to hear different people's voices, because it helps me to, like, all of a sudden there's different language coming out for me, that it sparks something different within me. And now I'm seeing it different. So now I can speak about it different. Because we're creative beings. We want to, if we are doing the same thing, if we're eating the same thing day in, day out, if we're doing, it's always mushy, it's always salty, it's always this or whatever, we have all of these senses, all of these taste buds that want to experience different things. We like crunchy things and smooth things and chewy things and salty things and sweet things and bitter and sour, so we want to be stimulated. We want to, there's something with it. When I'm saying we, it's like the energy that's living us has this ability to create so many experiences for us to experience. So we get to express it, eating something chewy, crunchy, or salty. And then it's like, okay, now I want something sweet. And that, it's like we're just using all of the senses that we have and the movement that we're able to do, because we have joints and our eyes can go in different direction. We have all of these things that our physical body is enabling us to do. And then when we do things, then we get to experience it. So it's like we like variety. And where we and the level of variety that we like different things, they will be unique for each of us. And the degree to which we allow ourselves to experience these different things is the degree to which we allow our logical mind to be okay. You're okay there. I'm okay if I do all these new things. Even if you don't understand, I'm going to trust that there's something that's way bigger than you, that's physical mind. This is what I'm talking about, if that's confusing. I'm pointing to my hand, but I'm talking about the personal mind, the logical mind, and the mind that only knows stuff from the past. And we want to live in this now with what's coming up fresh and new. And it might point to something from the past. Say, yeah, you don't forget how to turn on your computer and AirPods or Buds or whatever. Don't forget how to turn on and off the stove and cook. That's all really great past information that we can use now. And Lori, it's horrible to feel hurt and not lash out. It can be. And Lori, also, just from personal experience, and maybe you guys can look at this too. Like, have you ever lashed out? And the feeling of any tiny goodness, it's not worth it. Glenn, tuning into the journey's frequency. Tuning into the journey's frequency. Yeah. And being aware that you, who you really are offering up that frequency. It's kind of being offered up within you, coming out. This is sort of how I see it. And you get to go along. I don't know if I'm going to go through these notes because I wanted this to be like a little bit experiential for you, and just wondering like the types of things where we might feel that we are emotionally wounded. What maybe it is, breakups like that, or betrayals, or maybe it's losing like a death of someone we love, or the loss of a job, like any kind of loss. Sometimes even the loss of who, I see that this can come up and hold us back when we are actually evolving and we can see it, but we're leaving a relationship behind. Like, oh my gosh, I'm into this and I can see things clearer, and it's like the person who I used to like, oh, woe is me, or whatever. We had some things that we connected on, and maybe it didn't feel so good, but we didn't know it at the time. And now that we see things in a new way, it's just like, oh, I can't go back there. It doesn't make sense to me to tell those stories. To basically, when we are retelling a story, or like me, when I told the story about that old relationship, I could feel it. Why? Because I'm thinking about it. And I feel my thinking, just like we all do. So when we're looking at emotional healing, if we just, and I'm going to say something very flippant and then we'll talk about it. If we just didn't think about it, there's the healing. And now I want to go back and let's explore that a bit. Because there's the only thing that has us feeling that we are emotionally bruised or wounded is our own thinking, regurgitating or retelling of the story, or maybe it's just circling in our mind. And we might have regret over it. We might have, like, I have stories where they'll still come up where I'm embarrassed. Sometimes I'll even catch myself like, like saying out loud what I should have said, or it's like, okay, stop it. Stop it. Like, it's not Gordon Neufeld. Oh my goodness. Like oh my gosh, I can't remember his name. He's a comedian, Bob Newhart. His $5 for his psychological treatment. It's just stop it. We can laugh about it, but when we're caught in something that has so much, and I'm going to say so much emotion wrapped up into it, how can I stop thinking about that? And when I say emotion wrapped up into it, what does that really mean? It means that we have so many memories, so many things that we have in there, that it feels like overwhelm, doesn't feel good. Maya, same, Lori. I am the type to bottle things up. Yeah. Oh, sorry, I missed one. Lori, I'm more inclined to internalize my feelings rather than say how I feel. Yeah. You know, you don't have to answer here, but why? What are you afraid of? I know for me it might be, I don't want to hurt their feelings. I don't want to rock the boat. I just want to keep the peace. I'm afraid of the backlash. In a different relationship, I had someone who basically took my words, and I think they did this. They strung it around, and they tied me up so tightly with my own words used again. Like at the end, it was just like, I'm sure I felt like a deer. Well, I did. I felt like a deer in headlights. It's like, and I was so muddled. It was like spinning me around and then setting me on the road in front of a very bright, shining headlights. Very disoriented. So I often wouldn't say anything because it's like, I can't match their manipulation of my words. I can't defend myself. I don't even know what to say about it. So that was something that happened. And it's just like, oh, when I just stopped engaging, I just stopped defending myself, then there was no words for them to try and grab onto and manipulate. But it didn't happen right away. What did I do? I moved away from this position of trying to, and from this place of being in the moment and settling back into my own wisdom, all of a sudden I saw a bigger picture. Oh, wow. Okay. I couldn't always stay there. There were still times where I got back into it and it's like, oh. Maya, do you think that could lead us to distracting ourselves if we focus on not thinking about what could be stressing us out? Do you think that could lead to us distracting ourselves if we focus on not thinking about what could be stressing us out? Well, I have here's what I see as kind of the solution. If there is really a solution, it's to being in the moment. And instead of focusing on what we don't want and what is causing us to not feel good, putting our attention on what we actually want. Because if I would have taken, just thinking back to those two relationships, if I would have had the wherewithal, I didn't at that time. I couldn't. But now, it's like, okay, I recognize when I'm getting all wrapped up and tied up in something and like feeling like there's so much emotion wrapped up in it, and I'm wrapping myself, I'm doing the wrapping and the, when I have the wherewithal, which I do more of the time now, only because I'm more aware of how I'm creating my own experience of life. So I sometimes I'll go a few days all wrapped up, and then, oh my gosh, okay. But it's usually shorter and shorter now. So when I have the wherewithal to, like, settle back, it's like, wait a minute. What do I want here? What do I really want to be experiencing here? What do I really want? Like, am I engaging in all of this just because out of a reaction? Usually it's reaction or habit. And that's just thought. Habits, reaction, that's just, everything is made of thought. You are a thought form. I am a thought form. That's it. There's nothing other than thought in different densities. So sorry, I sidetracked myself and oh, right. What do I really want? Sometimes, so when we come to a place where we see what's going on, if we can just take a step back, it's like, what do I really want here? What do I really want? Well, one thing, I didn't want the relationship. I didn't need to defend myself. I could see that it was going nowhere and we were just hurting each other. Of course, I didn't think that at the time. I just thought, you're hurting me. And it's like, now I know that I was hurting me. I was hurting me. But it's like, oh, this is not, like, I can so feel that this is not the right relationship for me. This is not the right person. So when it's like, oh, I didn't, all of a sudden, any kind of defense or anything, it just didn't happen. Because I started, like, I'm focusing on out. Let's let this drop. No more conversation. Nothing to talk about. So my attention lifted from defending myself and trying to, keep my head above water in this mental relationship, to, like, oh my gosh, all of a sudden I felt lighter. I know this is available and I know this has happened for you. I don't know anyone that it hasn't, but we might be unaware of it. So I invite you to look at that for yourself. Sometimes it could help to look at something that's not so contentious. Like if it feels really big emotionally for you now, look at something that's maybe not so much. Maybe it's like, oh, I'm making supper again. Why am I always the one? There's two people who are home here all day long, and why is it always me? And it's like, okay, well, let's look at that. Who's feeling the pain here? Only me, because I'm the one who's, like, lamenting about it and complaining, but I'm not doing anything about it. I was like, okay, well, what do I really want? Oh, you know what? Actually, I don't mind making meals, but what would be really helpful is to, like, not always be the one to think up what I'm going to make. Like, what do you really want? I don't know what it's going to be. And you won't know until you, like, put your attention to it. What do I want? You don't even have to say the words out. You already know. There's already something within you that's pulling you towards something and repelling you from something else. And our only job is to follow that. I mean, if we would just listen to our own inner guidance, life would be so much easier for everyone. There would be so much less conflict. Everyone would know where they stand. Oh, it sounds, if I look back at that relationship where my words always seem to be twisted, it's like, when I look back at it now, it's like, wow, he was so afraid. I think he was just so afraid that he was defending and he was manipulating in order to try and protect himself in some way. And of course, I'm making that up because I don't know what he was thinking. That's what it kind of looked like, but that's my own thought projection on it. I actually don't know. You don't know what the people in your life are thinking. Really. You might have a sense of it, but always know that you just don't know. And that's where we get into trouble. I know that you're doing this on purpose and manipulating me, and it's just like, actually I don't. That might have been his defense mechanism to manipulate. So to me, it felt aggressive. To him, it maybe felt like, I don't know. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's in the past. And it was so great. I learned so many things from this. Right. So so Maya, in a way, when we stop looking at what is hurting us and distract ourselves, if we want to use that word, we can use that word here, to looking to what we want. You could look at it like that. But really, it's not a distraction. It just makes sense. Why don't we look to what we want? It's like the road is here and we're driving down the road and but we're looking, that way. It's like we're going to be bumping into things and we're not. This is like being in the present moment. So why don't we look, it's just like, ooh, I don't want to drive there. I don't want to drive there. And all of a sudden, it's just like our attention goes there. It happened to one of my sisters where her attention was moved from the road and all of a sudden she went back. The car went where her attention had gone, went off the road. That's what happens. So let's look to where we want to go. And it's like being in the moment now. And remember, it feels good. On the road, there will be rumble strips to say, whoop, you don't want to go here. Ooh, that warning. Your body will warn you. The tension in your face, your mind will warn you. Oh, you're not going where you want to go. Get back on track. Laura, today another live, we're speaking about a meditation called emotional healing. I think there are two parts, the human and not human. Well, that's really cool. If I could now, I'd like to talk just a little bit about the physical body. Yeah, like what ways, if that resonates, Laura, like take what resonates. What resonates? What makes sense? What feels good? You're always looking for, the feeling is what is always, that is your beacon. That is your lighthouse. How does it feel? So if something doesn't resonate, just let it go. Bypass that. Take what makes sense. And here's the thing. Have you ever read a book or you listened to a recording or something of someone and you got something from it, and maybe you listened to it a month later or whatever, and it's like, oh my gosh, now you got this and this from it. It's like, because our levels of awareness on things change. And the more, if you're just being curious and you have an open mind coming to it, different things will connect and you'll see it differently. It's like, oh, I see this. And then once you've seen that, now you can do this. Like in kindergarten or even preschool, whenever, you don't start by doing fractions. You will learn about what a number even is and how it looks when there's 5 of them. Here, this is what 5 looks like. You start, it's like levels of awareness. You're aware that there's numbers, and then you're aware that they can add up and they can be useful. And they look certain ways. And 10 feathers weigh something different than 10 pens. So our level of awareness rises, and then it's like we become more aware. It's all about being aware. I just want to read through here, because if there's something other than the physical that we talk about. The human and the not human. Yeah, well, you could call it form and formless as well. Sydney Banks talks a lot about the form and the formless. And that's all there is. But here's the thing. Everything is thought formed. Everything is made of thought. So here I'll go into the physical thing, because I have a background in energy work, Reiki, body talk, acupuncture, reflexology, that kind of thing. So it was all around how the energy of the body actually does the healing. That's your wisdom. That's the infinite wisdom. I didn't understand it in that way back when I was, taking all this training in that. But I knew that stuff happens. And then I learned that the more I stepped out of the way and didn't try to stick to protocols and all that, magic happened. I would call it magic. Happened. Pardon me. By me stepping back and letting Source do the work through me. Instead of me trying to, I got this there's this protocol, and then I have to ask that, and then that, and that, and that. You know, it's like when it's just like, okay, this feels like it's slowing me down. Standing back, we all have that ability to in our own life. So when in talking about emotional healing and physical body, I could feel when I used to work with people in front of me, and now just, you can feel it. You can feel when there's a block, or me, often you can see it. You can sense it. And we all use our senses in different ways. You have this available for you. So when we're looking at like a physical body, and it's just like, you know, have you ever had, you know, like physical manipulation, like a massage or physical therapy, or, you know, something, and then all of a sudden you like start crying or laughing, or some kind of emotion comes out of it. It's like, what the heck? It's just energy. Like, let's be clear about what this really is. It's energy. It's not, we think it's so solid. And the more solid we think it is, the more we like lock it in. But it's energy. It comes and it goes. Our thoughts, they come and they go. They come and they go. So there might be a, you know, and I still, I feel like I have, there's space, like I will be open about seeing this more differently, because there's a part of the physical that still will get me. Will like, yeah, kind of seems confusing, I know. But how I see it is, yeah, there was an experience. There was an experience. There was like an impact. And it could have been just an emotional impact. I was impacted by those talks that I had, that I would get all tied up. My words all wrapped around me, tied up, like I couldn't move. It can feel like we were impacted. Depending on where in our body we can be impacted. Even a physical impact, we can pull the energy out of that. And in that, there could be some emotion. So if there was like, you know, nothing actually comes to mind with this specific relationship I'm thinking about, but it's just like if I felt impacted in my heart, and maybe there was a massage, there was something that kind of broke loose, it would feel like the energy dispersed. But really, I've been carrying on living my life fine and had no awareness of it. But something might be triggered. A memory. It's just a memory. It's just a thought. Memory is just thought. Could be triggered. And it's like, so really, what are we releasing? We're not releasing anything from the past. We're releasing something from the moment. Because the moment is all we have. We're never experiencing our past. We're always and only 100% of the time experiencing what our attention is on in this moment. So if something, a massage or whatever, sparked a memory of some kind from our unconscious mind, our subconscious mind, we relive it, and we might cry, or we might laugh, or there might not even be an actual image. We might not even know what it's related to, but we'll cry or we'll laugh or whatever. And it's just like, just allow it to be expressed. Just allow it. It disperses. It disperses when our attention is lifted off of it and onto something that is wanting to experience, or wanting to move towards. Sorry, I'm just going to catch up on the chat a little bit here. Okay. So Laura said, same Laura about that. Laura, I think I learned it in childhood to not express myself, or if I do, it can be hard for others and me. Is it a coping mechanism? I can learn in childhood to not express myself. I can do it be hard. Well, certainly it's a way of hiding, right? When we don't, if something came up for you to do and it's like, you wanted to say it, and it felt right to say it, like you were aligned with it. And then what happens is something you'll like light on something, it's like, oh no, and you won't even, this is just one scenario. I don't know what's true for you. You have to check this out. But maybe it's, oh my God, it's my older brother. He knows everything. I'm the youngest. I'm the baby of the family. Like, I know nothing. They won't ever, I won't ever be, I'm, how do I say? What do I know? I'm the baby, right? And then it's like, you just hold it back. Or you say it really fast. And then you said it so fast and nervously because you're so scared about what they're going to think about what you said, and it's like, oh my God, what if they come back and ask me something about it? Like, I don't know. I only know a little bit about it. And then sometimes it feels easier, right, to just not say anything. I implore you, for you, to just become more aware. Just check it out. Just get curious. Just get curious about, I see that whenever I'm in company with this, I never want to, I have a friend who, it's just like, I just know that there's just some things that I just don't even go there, Mick-eye-la. Don't even go there. And it's okay, because we can talk about other things that I feel okay doing, or, more an acquaintance, this person that I'm thinking of. Lori, causing upset, and if I do say anything, I usually end up feeling guilty. Yeah. Isn't that interesting, right? So this is great. This is great to notice that you don't want to express, you want to bottle it in because you don't want to upset someone. So who's being upset here? Do you see that you're creating for yourself exactly what you don't want for the other? Even the guilt. Where, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter where it came from. Childhood, whatever, it doesn't matter where it came from. Around, why should I be always feeling guilty for asking for what I want, for expressing myself? It doesn't matter. Just be aware that, you're the only one who's feeling the guilt because of what you're thinking about it. That's it. I know when I'm saying it, I just heard myself say it, and it's just like, that's it. Like, it's no big deal. Like, it feels like a big deal because we like, oh my God, but I have this past and I had these things happen, and they happened. They're real. They happened. Yes, they did. Yes, they did. And now they're in the past. And now here we have this new moment. Always a new moment. What would we like instead? We are all free to live in the past. And we're not really. We're living in the moment, thinking about our past. So what else is possible? What else is possible for you? Let's look at that. Because as soon as you look at what's possible for you, what could happen, what is wanting to happen, the direction you're wanting to go, as soon as you do that, all that other stuff, it diminishes. It disappears. It disperses. Because it was thought created. It was thought generated. Maya, it's a very good way of putting it. Oh, sorry, that was 13 minutes ago, so I'm not sure, but I'm so glad. And Laura, what if it is not feeling good, as Maya said? We are distracting ourselves. Yeah, I hope that was answered. Now, Noni, hi Noni. Emotion equals energy in motion. Yeah. Yeah. Nicholas, something was really wow cool for you. I'm so glad. Lori, Mick-eye-la, what to do with repressed emotions? Stronger the emotion, the more it shows up physically. Yeah. Yeah. Well, okay, well let's look at this for a moment. Repressed emotion. Repressed emotion. If we are repressing it, I'm not going to do it. I have a little, I'm going to show you. Let me just see. I'll just do a quick little check around my office and see if I have it. I don't want to waste time. No, that's okay. Imagine a beach ball and you are trying to push it under the water. Now, if you let up, and just imagine it, it's big. It's one of those big ones. And you're pushing it. And if you get distracted for even, and it's effortful, it takes effort to press it down, repress it. We are pushing it, holding it, and then you get distracted. No longer repressed, no longer anything. The attention that you spend on pressing them down is very effortful. As soon as you let go, it pops right up. If we keep trying to push it down, effort, let go, pop up. Well, here's the thing about the pop up. If we're looking at it, if we're putting our attention on it, we are feeling it. Now, if we do something like circle the story in our mind, relive it, been there, done that so many times, right? And still, and then let it go. The effort happens, the pain happens in our bodies, because we're all energy. When we have attention on something that is feeling sticky and hard, it actually is sticky and hard in our body. It creates thought form blocks. It creates congestion. And there's not a natural flow. And that creates inflammation in the body. I've mentioned his name before, Dr. Bill Pettit, Pettit. He is he still counsels people. You can find him on YouTube. He is of this he was a psychologist. He was a psychiatrist. And then discovered the 3 principles of mind, consciousness, and thought with Sydney Banks, who is a mystic welder, grade 9 education, lived in BC, Canada for a while, and worked at the mill and had an enlightening experience and saw through how life happens, what we're experiencing, and what we really are. Okay, so he has a lot of talk about this, about how this shows up in the mind, in the physical, in the mind, in the body. I just recommend, I can't remember, oh my gosh, my mind. I'm excited about this topic. It's like, right, that's where it came from. He has many examples of different diseases, migraines, heart diseases, that have all been kind of traced back to the mental anguish of stress. Chronic mental stress is what he says, and I see it. That causes so many illnesses that seem to be so prevalent. It's stress. Where does stress come from? Our own thinking. We create our own stress. So when we're trying to repress something or resist it, yes, it actually builds it up. It makes the feeling of whatever emotion you're feeling, whatever emotion it's bringing up, it makes it bigger and stronger. And it affects our physical body. Absolutely. You've seen it, Lori. You've seen it. So we're not going to repress. What we resist persists, right? Because we're putting all of our attention on it. Instead, try this. Where is it in your body? Where is it? Like, if you want to, right in this moment, close your eyes. Where is it? What does it look like? What shape is it? Is it rough? Smooth? Splatty? What color is it? If you were to touch it, what's the texture? Slippery? Sticky? Soft? Dry? What does it need? What does it want? Does it want an outlet? Can you draw an outlet for it? Is it a bubble? It just needs a little prick, a little poke to disperse. What does it need? What does it want? When we're looking at this very physical thing, we're no longer, our attention is no longer on the thinking that was contributing to its seeming existence, to its effect. So allowing it to just, it will disperse. The more we just are with it, we will see that it will disperse. Because what created it is no longer in the spotlight. The body knows. So strange, yeah. It certainly does pop up. You're welcome, Laurie. The first question, the most important question that you might answer for yourself from a deeper place is, what do you truly want? What do you truly want? When you are in alignment with your inner being, your inner wisdom, you will feel healthy, healed, whole. You will feel good. What is good to you? I hope this did spark some new perspective for you, something that will be helpful going forward. a different relationship with your own thinking, a different relationship with emotional pain and any physical pain. One of the things Dr. Bill Pettit, I'll just end on this, said is that given the same stimulus, whether it's emotional, I think he was talking physical, but whether it's emotional or physical, because it's all about your thought, it creates an experience in the body. So the person who has more chronic stress, a lot of thinking, will have a much harder time with that pain than someone who does not have all this stressful thinking, who's likely more going with the flow, those internal nudges, and not thinking so much about the resistance, or not focusing on the resisting things, more on allowing things, less going upstream and more going downstream. There's a feeling in that. It's been a pleasure to be here today. If you happen to be new, then, and anything I said, resonated, curious for more, do follow. And I hope to see you again. If you've ever any questions, or you want confirmation or explanation or something, or you have a specific question, I'm happy to receive that in the platform. Monday, I'm alive. I'm live when if I'm alive. Hi Mick, grateful again resonated. So I'm so glad. So if I am alive on Monday, I'm going to be going live here again. Allow at 11:33 a.m. on the 25th. Allow the how for Body and Beyond. And this Allow the How actually came from the conversation that we had here yesterday. So it's fun. I really love to take what we're talking about here. You're welcome, Christine. And bring it into further conversation. So I want to keep it alive. There's things that... You're welcome, Beth. Hi, Beth. Yeah. Oh, sorry. I do love to take what we learned and let's explore it further if there's something new that comes up. So Mondays will be, well, this was a little description I kind of came up with. Transformation happens effortlessly when we trust our infinite intelligence, nothing new, to figure out the how and allow that to guide us along the path of least resistance. Yeah, to what we really desire. So have a lovely rest of your week and weekend, and hopefully we'll see you Monday. For those of you who've been waiting for the recordings, I'm almost there. I have 8 uploaded, and I'm doing some tie-ins and putting it onto a place, and then I'll put so by Monday it should be all done, or at least there'll be access to that, so you can re-listen and then you can fast forward and that kind of stuff. So love to you all.